of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said unto him, There is a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. But what are they among so many? And Jesus said, Make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place. So the men sat down, in number about 5,000. And Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and the disciples to them that were set down, and likewise of the fishes as much as they would. When they were filled, he said unto his disciples, Gather up the fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. Therefore they gathered them together, and filled 12 baskets with the fragments of the 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. Then
What is Epic Quest Bio? This short series of videos, I'm going to tell you should turn your phone sideways so you can see the script and, yeah. Epic Quest Bio is a real life biotech startup RPG in which the final boss is all diseases. We're on an epic quest to free mankind from disease. All sentient beings subject to disease are welcome to play. I'll explain what we're building, how it will end disease, why it's managed as a game, and how to play. The problem: we're blind. Right now, if you might have COVID, you swab your sinuses, immerse the cotton in a buffer, and wait to see if a line appears on a strip of paper. The test answers a single narrow question: did you swirl enough of one particular virus onto the cotton from your nose? One particular time. That's all it can ever tell you. The test answers a single narrow question. The test answers a single narrow question. Did you swirl enough of one particular virus onto the cotton from your nose one particular time? That's all it can ever tell you. Right now, if you might have cancer, many molecules. Right now, if you might have cancer. Right now, if you might have cancer. Right now, if you might have cancer. Right now, I have cancer. Right now, it's cancer. This constant squealing is driving me insane. It is sonic cancer. Stop, Doge. Stop. He's doing this all day long, every day, while my mom's dachshund is in heat and he can't get to her. And I'm stuck in a little room with him, and it's 120 degrees outside. There's huskies that don't like him all over the rest of the house, so he has to stay in here with me. And he won't stop making the squealing noise, and he tries to dig under the door because it is driving him insane, and in turn it is driving me insane, and that is why you hear the background sound. And hopefully it is only another day or two that her estrus is this much of a bitch for us all. Right now, if you might have cancer, many molecules could warn you, but none are easy to see. Instead, you book appointments, sit in waiting rooms, and let technicians run large, costly machines. The blood tests from recent headlines still miss most early tumors. The blood tests from recent headlines still miss most early tumors. You spend a lot of money just to slightly reduce your uncertainty. Right now, if you're aging, well, welcome to the one mandatory human malady. Right now, if you're aging, well, welcome to the one mandatory human malady. If you want to know how bad a case it is, there's no panel of advanced diagnostic that... If you want to know how bad a case it is, there's no panel... Seriously, I have nowhere else to do this. Doge, I'm gonna make you a sex doll so you'll stop. I love you, man, but you're driving me out of my freaking mind. I'm gonna put a hole in a throw pillow and go have my mom attach parts of the exterior of the dachshund to the pillow, shall we say, in which a hole has been fashioned. I'm going to bring it back down to you. I'm going to make you the happiest boy on earth for like 30 seconds, or however long it takes. And you'll stop, right? You'll stop? You'll stop? Please tell me you'll stop. I really don't want to have to do all that, okay? Right now, if you're aging, well, welcome to the one mandatory human malady. Welcome to the one... mandatory human malady. Welcome to the one mandatory human malady. If you want to know how bad a case it is, there's no panel of advanced diagnostics. There's no panel of advanced diagnostics that beats a bathroom mirror. There's no panel of advanced diagnostics that beats a bathroom mirror. If you want to intervene, the best you can do now is diet, sleep, and exercise. But whether the most obsessive regimen will really have an impact is miles from assured. Every day we discard the answers to questions we haven't even learned to ask. Urine carries early warnings for dozens of cancers, probably. Urine almost definitely carries early warnings for dozens of cancers, 100% provably for a few, and we just need to find the rest. Stool teams with clues about infection, inflammation, and the pace of aging. We send it all to the sewer, unseen. Stool teams with clues about infection, inflammation, and the pace of aging. We send it all to the sewer, unseen. Every day we discard the answers to questions we haven't even learned to ask. Urine carries early warnings. Urine carries early warnings for dozens of cancers. Urine carries early warnings for dozens of cancers. Stool teems with clues about infection, inflammation, and the pace of aging. We send it all to the sewer, unseen. We send it all to the sewer, unseen. Imagine we did not. Imagine we did not. Imagine cheap, sturdy sensors tucked in every toilet, quietly reading the molecular mail your body sends out. Quietly reading the molecular mail your body sends out. Imagine we did not. You would open an app and see in real time. Whether a virus was taking hold before the fever hit, whether a tumor was beginning to assemble itself, and whether those potato chips are accelerating your age-related decline. Now widen the lens. Imagine if millions of us shared those streams, anonymized and open to every researcher who wants to look. Clinical trials could run continuously in the background of ordinary life, tuned to every person's unique biology. That alone would rewrite medicine. Colds, flus, and the next pandemic would find the exits blocked. Most of us would clear infections before symptoms ever arrived. Early cancer detection would become so routine that oncology would shrink to short outpatient visits. Once the same data guided personalized... Doge, please, come on. Wrong vibe. Once the same data guided personalized rejuvenation therapies, aging itself would lose its inevitability. Once the same data guided personalized rejuvenation therapies, aging itself would lose its invincibility. The devices will not cure you. 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 They will only show you what is happening while there is still time for you to act. But to get there, we must stop discarding the data. We need to see what we are made of every day in the one place we all visit anyway. Think of it as less a gadget and more a birthright. Universal molecular streaming will give us the power to read the fine print of our own biology before it reads us. To read the fine print of our own biology before it reads us. What we're building physically. Our technical mission can be stated in one long phrase. Utility scale, solid state, universal, high throughput, single molecule sensing. That is a mouthful, so let me say it another way. Picture billions of silent wet labs, each no larger than a bar of soap, tucked into every toilet and sink. We call the idea universal molecular streaming. Utility scale means the same thing here that it means for tap water or the power grid. By 2040, you will not think about turning the sensor on any more than you now think about turning the faucet on. The data will simply arrive like water every time you flush. Children born then will find it hard to believe we once all lived in these molecular dark ages. Solid state means a device built like a chip, not like a test strip. It will not rely on fragile reagents that expire or enzymes that quit when the temperature drifts. Silicon, metal, and glass do the work, so the sensor can sit under the rim for years and still keep counting. High throughput single molecule sensing means we watch molecules arrive one by one, fast enough to matter. Today's diagnostics need a teaspoon of blood and a crowd of identical targets before they can say anything useful. We need one drop and a single passerby. A few minutes later, the count is high enough to be meaningful. Universal means the same sensor can greet any molecule that dissolves in water, whether we have met it before or not. Known drugs, unknown viruses, mere-handed amino acids, or a brand new pathogen from Mars will all register. If it floats in water, the device will see it and name it. We'll drill into the how of all this in a moment. But first, preempting common objections. Preempting common objections. Preempting common misconceptions. When I describe this vision, I often hear the same small set of knee-jerk reactions. Doge, stop it. Jesus fucking Christ. Stop it. Sounds just like Theranos. They already sell smart toilets that do that. Just install more air filters and UVC lights to reduce cancer and infectious disease. Super AI will cure all diseases without you. No technology can do this. Okay, let's start with sounds like Theranos. We call this Theranos derangement syndrome. Everyone raising money for liquid diagnostic tech in the last decade knows what I mean. Theranos tried to develop single blood drop testing, something firmly in the realm of the possible. Flaws in their approach and failure aside, the trying itself was neither crazy nor a crime. Tens of thousands of law-abiding scientists in labs of all kinds all over the world work on similar goals. More people should hear this. Mr. Sounds just like Theranos. They already sell smart toilets that do that. I really should. I should not have said that in a southern accent. I should not have said that in a southern accent. I'm going to honor my brilliant southern brothers and sisters, though, by replying in a southern accent. Probably a bad one. No, they don't. There are various products and prototypes that measure things like body weight, hydration levels, pH, blood oxygenation, heart rate, and a small number of known biomarkers. They're useful, but we're trying to build. Now it should be. They're useful, but we're trying to build a technology light years beyond the sensors available in existing smart toilets. Thank you for asking about the smart toilets. This next one is a trigger warning for myself because a diligence person that some investor talked to like had this as like a major reason why like what we're doing is not worth doing, and it felt like a punch in the guts because it was so narrow, so so incredibly short-sighted. But you can't feel too angry about like short-sightedness. Everybody's just trying to get their trying to keep a roof over their head or whatever. It's like Dave Chappelle said, right? Like you never take another man's lunch, even if like he kind of took away a lot of yours, but you still like playing within the rules. You're free to believe dumb things, and this is kind of like an insane thing that prevented my raising enough money to have done a lot more good than I have so far. Just install more air filters and UVC lights to reduce cancer and infectious disease. 100% agree. Clean filtered air with UV lamps to kill viruses would save millions of lives every year. So would banning ultra-processed foods and getting more people to take statins. Those are not technological challenges, they're human psychology challenges. Even basic sanity is an epic quest. I'm a scientist developing fundamental technologies that don't exist yet. I'm not built for politics and social psychology. True, let someone else be built for politics and social psychology. Maybe you are. I say do good in the way that calls to you. Let's all be on team basic sanity. Alright, took me a while to figure out the most positive response to that. Oh wait, okay. Wait, okay, next one is super AI will cure all diseases without you. That would be so lovely. But I don't see how AI will cure all diseases without data from universal molecular streaming. Scenarios where I'm wrong are apocalyptically unpredictable anyway. It's the difference between praying an alien god saves us and saving ourselves. And I am more confident that we can cure all diseases without super intelligent agentic AI than most AI researchers are that super intelligent agentic AI won't end our species. Full speed ahead with human-led biotech. All right. That's, I don't know, this is kind of spicy, but I don't know, it's kind of a typical conversation with love. And then finally, no technology can make Doge stop barking unless I go build the estrus simulant sex doll that apparently would make him at least stop barking. No technology can do this. Quite right. There is no technology yet to measure, identify, characterize, discover, and count Doge. Okay? You're like a Harrison Bergeron implant. I'm stuck in here with you. I'm not going to do violence to you. I don't have anything to bribe you with. I can only beg you to the bottom. Doge, I'm begging you, please stop. Please stop barking because of the estrus. Doge, man, I'm sorry. I know it sucks. I've tried everything. Like it's the third time she was supposed to get the dog spayed. The third time. And I forgive her, and I know it's complicated. She wanted to get the dog spayed. She wanted to get her spayed. But, she's just like, Doge is driving a whole household of people crazy, and I don't know. I don't have any other reasonable option if I'm going to record this today than to sit in this room while he continues to do this, and he'll stop eventually. Especially when they take her back upstairs, so her scent's not so much out there. Yeah, I'm angry about it. I'm a little bit upset about it. You can tell there's an edge in my voice. I'm not acting. I'm actually insanely frustrated by it. Maybe even judgmental toward myself for being insanely frustrated by it, because I was just having fun there for a while and I was recording this in spite of it. But now I'm kind of spiraling back, and we got to talk about no technology can do this. Quite right. There is no technology yet to measure, identify, characterize, discover, and count any type of molecule in a compact, affordable, durable, easy-to-use device one can install in a toilet. There are no sci-fi portals to molecular reality. But there is a clear path. Decades of work and tens of thousands... Decades of work and tens of thousands of research papers and even our own early proofs of concept prove this. Even so, it will still take several years and thousands of caring creative nerds to actually build it. That's the whole enchilada. Or rather, the whole enchilada. The whole enchilada. The whole enchilada. Nada, nada, nada. The whole enchilada. Oh, it's a pretty one. I wonder which paper that one is from. You're looking at here tesseracts containing dozens of forgive me for doing this, but it required making 300,000 individual images quickly. Taking the content of like 100,000 PubMed papers and turning them into these works of art, and you're just seeing like random versions of that. And this is probably some kind of paper from the mechanical engineering or robotics side of some kind. I like this one. Let's look at the whole enchilada, okay? We're now going to look at the whole enchilada. In 1948, Wallace Coulter imagined a city. In 1948, Wallace Coulter imagined a city reduced to rubble and asked a quiet question. In 1948, Wallace Coulter imagined a city... Jesus Christ, Doge. Please stop. Stop. In 1948, Wallace Coulter imagined a city reduced to rubble and asked a quiet question. If the bombs fall again, how will doctors know who is dying from invisible radiation? If the bombs fall again, how will doctors know who is... I feel that requires a more intense delivery. How will doctors know who is dying from invisible radiation? In 1948, Wallace Coulter imagined a city reduced to rubble. In 1948, Wallace Coulter imagined a city reduced to rubble and imagined a city reduced to rubble, and asked a simple question, asked a quiet question. If the bombs fall again, how will doctors know who is dying from invisible radiation? How will doctors know who is dying from invisible radiation? They would need to look for a drop in white blood cells, and the only way to do it then was a Victorian-era invention. A technician would sit at a microscope counting individual cells on a slide one at a time, clicking a handheld mechanical tally counter. In a mass emergency, the slowness of this method would be lethal. It's not funny. Why am I laughing? So Coulter did one of the most random sounding things in the history of invention. He poked a hole in the cellophane wrapper from a pack of cigarettes. To understand why, just run electricity through salt water between two electrodes. Block the path with something that doesn't conduct electricity, like cellophane. No current flows. But poke a tiny hole in the cellophane, like Coulter did, and current flows again. Now suction some blood cells through that hole. Each cell that passes blocks the current for a moment, creating a blip you can count. In his Chicago basement lab, using an oscilloscope, a battery, salt water, his own blood, and that cellophane wrapper, Coulter invented what would become the world's most commonly used medical test. It's still basically how almost all complete blood counts are done today worldwide in tens of thousands of hospital labs. It's still basically how almost all complete blood counts are done today worldwide in tens of thousands of hospital labs. Jesus Christ. It's still basically how almost all complete blood counts are done today worldwide in tens of thousands of hospital labs. Journey to the angstrom scale. Journey to the angstrom scale. Over decades, the holes kept shrinking, which meant over decades the holes kept shrinking, which meant they could see smaller and smaller things. The method that began with Coulter's needle-poked cell counter now includes holes smaller than a single nanometer, measured in angstroms, tenths of a nanometer. Unless you've spent the last 15 years avoiding popular science news, you've heard of the most famous pores developed on the way, protein-based nanopores. The best known is alpha-hemolysin, a toxic protein that bacteria use to puncture red blood cells. If you place such a pore in an artificial membrane and feed a strand of DNA through it, the ion current flutters in a sequence that corresponds to the bases in the DNA, which each modify the current in their own characteristic way. Oxford Nanopore packaged the trick into thumb drive-sized sequencers and built a multi-billion-dollar business. But protein-based nanopores are not going to get us to universal molecular streaming. They're fragile. They don't last for more than a few days. They need very specific conditions. They can only detect certain types of molecules. They're like having a key that only opens one lock, when what we need is a skeleton key for the entire molecular universe. Solid-state pores range in size from the naked eye discernible ruby tubes NASA used to measure moon dust, down to barely nanometer-wide pores through which single-stranded DNA can just barely squeeze. They can last indefinitely under the right conditions, can be fabricated and regenerated in some cases using only electricity, and can even be mechanically adjusted in size and shape in real time. My lab mates and I pioneered a form of that. Indeed we did. In the past few decades, heroic scientists have done heroic things with nanopores. If you've ever been in the trenches in such a lab, you know why I say heroic. This research requires heroic persistence and patience. Nanopore scientists have figured out how to trap a single molecule and send it back and forth through the same pore hundreds of times. Each pass gives a slightly different signal, and averaging them together creates measurements so precise they can detect differences smaller than a hydrogen atom. Proteins are flamboyant. They're not just different sizes. They tumble, spin, stretch, and fold into different shapes. Nanopore scientists have found ways to track such gymnastics, along with measuring size, shape, electrical charge, which way they're facing, and how fast they're spinning. You can even catch proteins folding, the still mysterious process whereby floppy chains of amino acids somehow assemble into functional shapes. Some researchers flipped the whole measurement scheme sideways, measuring current across the pore walls instead of through the hole. This adds new ways to measure molecules and could make future devices both cheaper and faster. The thinnest nanopores are made from graphene, a sheet of carbon just one atom thick. Other nanopores use tiny gold structures that concentrate light into the sensing zone, amplifying faint signals. Some are decorated with DNA origami structures that work like molecular bouncers, only letting certain guests through the door. Each heroic hard-won breakthrough brings us closer to devices that can identify any molecule, but there are still many problems to solve. EpicQuest Bio is dissolved to EpicQuest Bio. EpicQuest Bio is designed to solve those problems this decade. EpicQuest Bio is designed to solve those problems this decade. Next part. Everything is hard, including like being a brain with a monitor on it, whatever that is. Calling complex things rocket science is a common metaphor, but consider this irony. Irony? Irony. Irony. Irony? Irony. Irony. Is it irony or irony? I know it's iron or iron. Actually, no, I always said iron as a kid and I got made fun of because it's iron. But is it irony or irony? Ironic. It's definitely not ionic. Irony. Irony. Rockets sound incredibly simple at first, like how to pronounce irony. You could explain rockets to a caveman with a stick drawing in the sand. Pointy tube, fire comes out the bottom, whoosh, into the sky. So why did it take decades and billions of dollars and thousands of people to get to the moon? A caveman can imagine a pointy tube with fire underneath, but not the 1,000 invisible ways the tube can explode, melt, drift off course, or starve its crew. Turning that sketch into a machine that reaches the moon meant learning, one launchpad explosion at a time, how, all at once, to keep a huge array of possible failures from happening. Pore-based sensing sounds simple too, it's just tiny holes and things going through them. A caveman would grunt with basic comprehension. He eats things. He can tell the difference between a banana and an apple when they enter his mouth hole. So why did it take decades and billions of dollars and thousands of people to sequence DNA by passing it through tiny electrical mouth holes? A caveman can imagine pulling a string with beads of different sizes out of his mouth, but he can't imagine the strings and the beads jerking and buckling in every direction while clattering past his teeth 1,000,000 beads per second, or any of the many ways in which simple macro-scale analogies don't account for the insane complexity of nanometer-scale events happening in microseconds. These are wickedly complex problems, and you need every kind of scale, social, physical, economic, to solve them. Our plan to solve nanopore sensing achieves the necessary scale based on a simple truth. You can hold a nanopore R&D lab in the palm of your hand. We've prototyped and tested just such a lab. We call it the MR1 molecular streaming device. We want you to have one, and you'll learn all about it when you play EpicQuest Bio. Yay! Next up, about me and we. Ooh. Wait, was that a sign? I don't want to think about it. Before we get into the game itself, I want you to know who's behind all this and see some of what we've already accomplished. I've used we here to refer to everyone who has worked with me on this project since the beginning, and aspirationally to the thousands of geeks and gamers and dreamers and visionaries I hope to recruit to play our game. But who am I? Call me Chemistry. It's mostly my actual name, with Tree added long ago by a lab partner who thought it was a funny nickname to give me. As for credentials, I'm a college dropout who's worked closely with some of the brilliantest science startup people ever. But none of that matters. Never mind the historic geniuses I've shared a lab bench with, the august institutions, the cloud cap towers. Let me just show you some cool things we did. Watch this short video. If you see some of the science eye candy in this video, you simply must know more than you were meant to play EpicQuest Bio.
Once upon a time, I was way ahead of my time. I was a little kid who daydreamed about cubic mile underground laboratories on the moon, Then I grew up, kind of. I went to college to study molecular and cellular biology. A professor asked me why, and I said, because I want to cure aging. I want to live long enough to see all these wonders come to pass. But those were the before times, and curing aging sounded like lunacy. The Overton window hadn't shifted yet. So I was on a lonely mission until I found my tribe. These brilliant technical startup founders who were among the first truly ambitious engineers and scientists I'd ever met. They convinced me to work on tools for biology rather than directly on biology. And I dropped out of college to join them on a quest to sequence DNA with electron microscopes. We did some of the coolest things anyone's ever done with single molecules and electron beams. Later, I became obsessed with a different technique. These tiny little holes called nanopores. Molecules pass through them and create electrical fingerprints to let you identify them. The long-term mission, make a single box you could hold in your hand and you just spit inside of it and it would tell you why you were sick on a molecular level. That's the vastly oversimplified version for lay people. For people who aren't lay people, they know that there's a gigantic complexity and difficulty involved in making that box. And because it's such a grand challenge, we're recruiting an army of thousands of citizen scientists with custom-made molecular sensing hardware to develop what we call universal molecular streaming, or portals to molecular reality for all mankind. Everyone should just be able to see any kind of cell or molecule at any time. And by see, I mean measure it, count it, characterize it, discover new ones, even sequence DNA. Being able to do everything in one device, whether it's installed in your air handling system or your toilet or your kitchen sink or even in a cell phone case. We want these devices to be compact, durable, inexpensive, and you shouldn't need a PhD to make good use of them. With these devices in people's home, with the technical bar to entry just being, can you use the bathroom and can you access Wi-Fi? That's how we and our emerging new species of AI friends are going to cure all diseases in the coming decade. That's a world without cancer. That's a world without aging. That's a world that's safe for robust synthetic biology so we can end material and energy scarcity. That's a world with no more infectious diseases. That's a ridiculously and realistically bright future. We've already done some of the coolest things you'll ever hear about in the biotech tools arena. Everything you see here, troves of early data and IP and design, a whole world of wonder. Multiple things that once you understand them, you go, holy bleep, that's awesome. We've been ahead of our time for years, but this is our moment. Join our epic quest, and let's make a future so bright, you'll need triple thick welder's goggles just to look at it.
That was fun. Oh God. All right, we're gonna leave that part out. How to play. All right. Yeah. How to play. Cool. Inspired by the Dungeons and Dragons campaigns I played as a child, I realized that every role in a biotech startup can be thought of as a character class. During your enrollment, you'll choose two character classes. One is a major and one is a minor. Pick these based on any mixture of what you're actually best at in real life and what you want to explore. Next up, character classes. Yay! Oh, that's a. Sometimes I don't like the tesseracts, like, because they're, some of them were, like, made with, I was trying to just, what do you call it, when the diffusion model only makes so many passes, I was trying to save these GPU credits that I had, so they're ugly, and they don't look as good as the higher resolution ones. Character classes. We got Barbarian, Bitebender, Cleric, Gearhead, Ludician, Sciencer, Sparky, Spellbinder. These are the classes of Epic Quest Biotechnology. And we shall proceed with the Barbarian. What did you think the fighter warrior type class would do in a startup role playing game? Getting that almighty dollar, of course. In the red and tooth and claw world of biotech startup fundraising, you eat rejection for breakfast and ask for seconds. Where others see, we'll be cheering you from the sidelines, you see, not brave enough to join us yet. Born ready for elevator pitch battles, you make sure the guild does not run out of gold mid-quest. You know, I really like this pun, and I'm proud of it. It is entirely mine, and I just think it's a cool pun, like, because I mean, how often do you have like an excuse to like, it's like one of the, there's a Jeopardy category that does that, where like you have to take like elevator pitch and pitch battles, and there's some clue, and the answer is, what is an elevator pitch battle? And it could be like an entrepreneur. The clue would be, and the answer would be, what is an elevator pitch battle? And the clue would be, when an entrepreneur's verbal solicitation of funding, when an entrepreneur's seriously abbreviated, when an entrepreneur's 60-second verbal entrepreneurial 60-second verbal tussle, verbal tussle becoming extreme, turning to sheer havoc, elevator pitch battle. Anyway, it's not that good, but I'm still proud of it. I thought it was pretty, okay, sorry. I should drink some water before the next one. Doge, Jesus Christ. Please stop, buddy. Not a comedian. I'm just somebody who finds themselves funnier than they actually are. Barbarian. Next up, Bitebender. You code, you hack, you do whatever it takes to bend bytes to your will. So much to do. Help finish the Tile World MMORPG, the Tile World MMORPG that thousands of future Epic Quest Bio players will navigate. Work on the advanced machine learning algorithms we'll feed millions of nanopore experiments into. Stop Doge from barking. Manage exabytes of raw signal data over 3 years of collective experimentation. Upgrading onboard. Like, I expect anyone to tolerate listening to a dog doing this for like 45 minutes is itself so funny. I just want to see if it happens. Upgrade the onboard software in the MR1, or maybe it's just lame. Maybe it just sucks. Or help complete development of Maxine's Quest, the platform that gamifies data collection on the MR1. Your powers will unite digital and molecular planes of existence. Cleric. You handle the cursed scrolls, contracts, ward off the demons, lawsuits, destroy trolls with the light of truth, open source patents, and ensure we don't accidentally violate the ancient taboos, federal regulations. You keep us alive so we can keep others alive. You're part therapist, part lawyer, part accountant, part miracle worker. Every epic quest needs its healers and clerics. Heal organizational wounds before they fester. Gearhead. You love beautiful machines and making them. Give you a problem and access to a machine shop, and you'll figure it out. In this quest, you'll make the widgets and boxes and actuators that provide portals to molecular reality. You're the party's blacksmith, but your forge runs on 3D printer resin and G-code. Ludition. You love games and understand their power. You transform grinding data collection into thrilling adventures, turn tedious calibration into boss battles, and make your fellow player scientists feel like heroes saving the world, because they are. Without you, we're just another boring biotech company. With you, we'll eventually be the world's first biotech company that millions of people will feel like they're a part of. Sciencer. There's an obscure rhetorical term called anthemeria. One example is when you use a noun as if it's a verb. When Matt Damon's character in The Martian says, "I'm going to science the shit out of this," that's anthemeria. The character class name Sciencer anthemeriates science full circle, from noun to verb and back to noun. In Epic Quest Bio, science or science, all kinds of relevant hard science, molecular and cellular biology and genetics, nanopore science, physics, material science, chemistry, bioinformatics, zoology, biology, virology. What did I said botany, virology. I think I said biology, microbiology, astrobiology. If you have professional expertise and or a passionate interest in any of these, I left some out. There should have material science in there. Oh, it's in there. Definitely choose Sciencer as your major class. Everyone who plays Epic Quest Bio is a player scientist, and everyone will science, but Sciencers will science the most sciencely. Sparky, you command the logic of lightning, trapped in arcane patterns, with the spellbooks of Faraday, Maxwell, Nyquist, Shannon, Keithley, Widlar, Carver Mead, Nayrin Sackman, and Horowitz and Hill. You're an electrical wizard who can measure currents so small that individual electrons feel personally observed. Spellbinder. You practice the ancient magic of making other humans pay attention. You translate our nerd speak into normal human, making people care about femtoamps and flow cells. Maybe you make music, maybe you make memes, maybe you do interpretive TikTok dances about nanopores. Please keep them PG rated. You're equal parts educator, propagandist, and showman. Without you, we're just weirdos with weird futuristic devices in our hands. With you, we might actually inspire the villagers to join our quest instead of throwing rocks. The real game mechanics. For now, summer 2025, Epic Quest Bio runs like D&D in someone's basement, but remotely. For now, we'll play through emails, chat groups, and phone calls. In some cases, we may get together and play in person. For now, I, Chemistry, CEO of the actual legal entity / startup, will be your game master. You earn XP, experience points, for completing missions. Pitch an investor for us, XP. Write code that works, XP. Convince someone to join our quest, XP. Run experiments that generate good data, XP. Make a PG-rated TikTok demonstrating how nanopores work with interpretive dance, mad XP. There will be myriad challenges customized for you, and starting out, you'll receive them directly from me. Important, XP is not crypto. It's not worth money. You cannot buy it or exchange it. Either will get you permabanned. It's a score that tracks your contributions to the mission. If we succeed in our quest, and it's always a big if, we plan to convert XP into actual advisory stock in the actual Delaware C Corps. Think of it as formalized karma. Traditional advisory stock vests automatically over time, even if the advisor does nothing after signing. Our system rewards an actual contribution, not just showing up. This is all legal and above board. U.S. corporate law lets companies grant advisory stock for actual advisory effort. You are playing the game as your advisory effort. Your XP score keeps track of that effort. No guarantees, no get-rich-quick schemes, just a fair way to recognize everyone who helps us cure all diseases. Enrollment form. Let's make sure this is working. So you got to put in first and last name, and I'm just doing this as a test, so I'm just making up one. Send verification email. Check it. Okay, we'll stop at this point. We'll stop.